Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and in this one I am creating on a tag and I'm using some of Leaca Young's newest stencils. So I'm starting off using a sponge roller. This is one that is definitely a children's art supply, although clearly not just for children. And I'm just using some permanent red violet light from Amsterdam acrylic. These sponge rollers give a lovely application of paint. They're so easy to use, as you can see. It's just the same as using a brayer really, but you get a very different texture with your paint, and I quite like it. They're also great for applying paint through stencils too. So next I'm using lemon, and I'm not cleaning my roller in between, I'm just going straight in. And then finally I'm using, I think that looks like Tangelo, and again just mixing that on my sponge roller and adding that to the bottom, sort of creating a bit of an ombre effect on the tag. So then once that was dry, I'm then using another piece of card and I'm just adding some paint onto that, using just the pink. And here I am using a clean roller because I didn't want any of the other colours. I didn't want them to kind of go brown, which they would do if I wasn't too careful. So this piece of card is going to create the pocket. So this is one of Lisa's stencils called Caffeinated Botanicals, I think. Yes, it is. I've just checked. And these are like coffee beans, which is really cute. And they're great for just adding a bit of background interest onto something. So you could use them for that. And just, I don't know, Lisa's stencils are just so versatile. So I think here I'm using a little bit of carnation through my stencil, and just as a colour that works with what I've already got on my tag, and a little bit of a contrast but not quite as harsh as white would be. So I'm not worrying too much about putting too much stenciling at the bottom of my tag, because that's where my little pocket is going to go. So I'm just doing a bit around the edge, just so that when the pocket's on there you can still see that stenciling too. Okay, then I'm going in again with Orchid this time, and the same stencil, and I've just moved it slightly and turned it just so that the little coffee beans are in a slightly different place to where they were before. I'm just starting to build up those layers of interest on my tag. So next I am using a stencil from the Funky Botanicals set, and I'm using this with some black paint because I want to create a little bit of contrast here. This is the really cool patterned stencil. It's got lots of different patterns and shapes in it. This is also fantastic for adding background detail, or like I'm doing here, some interesting pattern onto something that's in the foreground. So this is going to be the pocket on my tag. So then, because I've got a bit of paint left on my sponge, I'm just edging the tag with a little bit of the paint that's left over, and just kind of working out how this is all going to fit together. So now I'm going to trim this down, this pocket, and I always keep these little bits that I cut off. I have a box that is ever growing, full of little delicious snippets of card and paper, which I can then use for collage. Be warned though, if you start keeping your scraps, you will get to a point where you actually can't throw things away, and the box will get out of control. I can absolutely guarantee it, because look at all those bits that I've cut off there, and I just cannot throw those. They will be saved, put to one side and added to my box, which is ever growing. Oh dear. So this is another stencil from the Caffeinated Botanicals set, and this has got like a little cups and coffee cups and things on. Anyone who knows me really well will tell you that I am a complete tea belly. That's what one of my friends calls me. I love a cup of tea, and I honestly don't think that you can drink too much tea. I do drink decaf tea as well, so I'm not like completely hyper on caffeine, but I just love a cup of tea, and I just think there's something really warm and comforting about a proper cup of tea. So that's what this tag, when I saw these stencils from Lisa, I was just like, I have got to do something to do with having a cup of tea. So here I've just used a couple of colours of paint from Amsterdam acrylic in like lovely sort of browns. The darker brown is, I'm using that to just add a little bit of shadow, give those little teacups a bit of depth too. And here I'm just stenciling the word tea onto the cup as well. So next I decided that I wanted my cup. The reason I've made two cups is because I'm going to be sticking them together, and there's going to be like a little pocket created within the cup. So these are going to be stuck together. So I'm just cutting the white away on this one, because then that creates the pocket effect. And I'm also cutting out the little white bit in the handle as well. So I'm just using my craft knife straight on my glass mat. And you can do this, you will find if you do that your glass mat might get a bit scratched, but also it will blunt your craft knife. But I wasn't really bothered, I couldn't be faffed to find my little cutting mat. And it worked fine. So next I decided to add some contrast onto this pocket. I would just add some white onto it. So I'm just outlining some of the patterns on there just to create that contrast really, and to push some of the black away back into the background and pull the lines forward. Okay, then I decided that I just wanted to calm these both down a little bit. So grabbed my sponge roller, got a little bit of white paint, I think it was white this time, and just gently rolling a little bit of that over. Now this would work definitely with a brayer, but again I'm just loving the texture that these sponge rollers give when the way that they apply the paint to the surface, and it just popped out there. Little tip, you must wash these as soon as you've finished with them, otherwise they will just dry completely hard and crusty and you won't be able to use them at all. So you must just pop them in some water, wash them with a bit of soap, give them a good squeeze, and then I just tend to sit them on top of the radiator, although at the moment there's no point in them being on the radiators because they're not on, because electricity is so expensive and it's going to get more and more expensive. And so we are trying not to put the heating on too much. Okay, so here I am. I know I'm doing this. I was just thinking, why on earth did I do this? Now I'm creating my tea bag to go in my cup. So I've just added a little bit of watercolour onto a piece of cardstock, and then I added some splatters as well, gave it a dry, and then I've just kind of measured how wide the top of my cup was, and I'm just going to create a rough square shape, not measuring anything, as you can see, just eyeballing it. And then I actually have some unused tea bags, yeah. And I'm just going to cut a piece off one of those and stick it onto the back of my cardboard tea bag. Okay, then I grabbed the string off the tea bag and stapled that onto the top of my actual tea bag that I am creating. I have also used my sewing machine here and just sewn my teacup together, just gone around the edges of that, and I've also sewn around my tea bag too. Then I found a little heart. I think I'm going to put that on my tea bag, and it is starting to come together. So next I'm just using some marker pens, and I'm just going in and adding some sort of pen details onto the little things that I've made. I'm also going to add a little bit of shadow as well. So here I'm using a Stabilo All pencil. This is one of my favourite supplies. It's just great for doing this sort of thing because it's so quick and easy to use. And you can see how immediately when I water activate that, it just adds that lovely shadow detail onto my little cup. Then it was really time for the finishing touches, so I decided I was going to add the word tea to the top of my tea tag, and just using some black paint there through the stencil, and then I added some of my own words to the bottom of the tag as well. And that was pretty much how this tag finished. So these stencils are available from Lisa's website, leacayoungart.com. She's got lots of wonderful things on her website. So if you haven't been and had a look, it's worth going and looking. And if you are in a place where it's difficult, postage is expensive, she has loads of downloads and things on there too. So it's definitely worth checking that out. So a big thank you to Lisa for sending me these lovely stencils. Here's some stills of the tag that I created. It was lots of fun to play with. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again soon.